In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? For my magazine, I decided to follow many conventions that are used in other pop music magazines, which I analysed, such as Wheel of Pop and Q. Examples of these are the size of my masthead and how it was aligned, and the positioning of my cover lines. On the front cover of my magazine, the masthead was larger than any of the other text on the page, and the reason for this is because it was conventional in all magazines which I looked at, and also because the reader possibly buys the magazine judging on the title of it. I also chose to make it black so it stands out against the rest of the page, as the colour of the dress the artist is wearing is nude and black. The name of my magazine, Play, immediately tells the audience what genre of magazine it is, so the audience know exactly what they're buying, just like the name Wheel of Pop. The place where I put the masthead is conventional too, because when I analysed covers of Q, Notion and Wheel of Pop, they were either in the left corner or all across the top, as this is where the audience look first. Also on the front cover, I only used 2 fonts. When looking at other magazines, such as Wheel of Pop, it used 3 fonts, and Q also used 3, so I had this in mind when creating my magazine and chose to have 2, which were called Special K and a Rule, so that it's consistent. I made the masthead appear in a different font than the cover lines, so it's easy to differentiate. My main image was a mid-shot, so the audience can see the artist's facial expression and the clothes they are wearing. This convention is also commonly used in other magazines which I saw, such as Top of the Pops. The artist on the cover is smiling and looking directly at the audience and are engaging with them. When looking at the cover of Wheel of Pop, I also noticed that they look at the camera, as this draws the audience in to buy the magazine. I didn't place any cover lines covering up the main image, as I wanted it to be the main focus. The colours of my cover lines are also conventional, as I am in bright colours such as pink and white that stand out, and they appeal to my target audience, which the cover of Wheel of Pop does too, because it uses vibrant colours such as orange and green, which are related to the pop genre. In the bottom corner of my magazine, I added a barcode, price and a website, which is conventional for all music magazines. I found out that Q placed their website where the barcode was, so loyal readers can search online for it and see more. To make my cover different from others, I didn't fill the cover with cover lines, as I wanted it to look tidy and organised so it catches the audience's eye, because it's different. I noticed that Wheel of Pop and Q made their cover lines large, so there was hardly any empty space, but I wanted my magazine to have an ordered approach. When putting together my contents page, I also wanted the masthead to be large and simple, so it is clear to the audience what the page is. I used subheadings to separate the article headings, so if the reader is looking for one specific thing, they can easily find it, and this is conventional in all magazines, and as my target audience are young, I thought this would be helpful and effective. The headings used are also conventional, as most magazines have headings such as features and on the cover, so it's easy for the reader to find anything they want. When looking at other magazines, I noticed that some of them used a subheading, then gave a brief description of what the article includes, but I didn't want to do this, so I chose not to put a subheading, just a description, so that the reader gets a clear idea of what the specific article is about and what it consists of. I also found that it was more persuasive too. I made the page numbers a different colour to the article heading, so I put them in a nude colour, the one that was similar to the cover artist's dress. And I found many other magazines do this, so the audience can clearly see what page number the article is on. I have used the same colours as my house style, so it stays consistent and appeals to my target audience. Also, many other magazines do this too, because it looks distinctive, such as Q. For the images used, I used established artists, as I thought it would be the only way my readers would be persuaded to buy the magazine, because Notion used Bruno Mars on the cover, and he's well known all over the world, so I thought an unestablished one wouldn't be as popular, as the audience will not know the artist, so they wouldn't be interested in reading the article that was about them. The place where I positioned the images is significant, as I chose to put them in the top left-hand corner, as it is the first place the reader looks after the masthead, so I thought it would immediately grab their attention. My images are of 2 female artists who are of an ethnic minority, and they are separate. The one on the left is the cover artist and is wearing a nude and black dress and is a mid-shot. She is smiling to engage with the audience and has her hand on her left hip. The second artist is shot in a medium shot, so we can see her face and briefly what she's wearing. She's wearing a lace dress with a nude background and has her hair down and is slightly pulling it. She's wearing more makeup than the artist on the left and is also wearing long dangly earrings to accentuate her dress. The fonts I used on my contents page are different from the ones I used on the front cover, and this is a convention I challenged, as when I looked at the contents pages of Q, they use similar fonts or the same one as the front cover. I challenged this convention because I wanted to add some variety to make it look more interesting. The fonts I used were Daniela, Arial and Calibri. Although the fonts I used were different, they are still in a sans serif font, as I wanted the magazine to look modern, so it appeals to my target audience. I decided to use an end mark on the bottom corner of my magazine so that the reader knows it is from a specific magazine. I use this because no magazines do this, they only do it on a double page spread, and I wanted the magazine to be unique. And it's also obvious what the end mark symbol is. For my double page spread, I decided to follow the majority of conventions, such as placing an image covering the left-hand page. I did this because magazines such as Wheel of Pop do this, and I wanted the main focus to be on the artist and to show her importance. In addition to this, it works and draws the audience's attention to the page too. I placed a pull quote on the photo saying, "I still have insecurities and I was the one people called a freak," so the audience gets a slight idea of what the article is about, creating an enigma. I also put a pull quote in the text so the audience don't have to read all of the text in order to know what is included on that page. The pull quotes also encourage the audience to read the article, as there may be issues that teenage girls have been through or are currently going through, and they stand out against the page. The colour scheme of the pages is consistent and appeals to the target audience because they are colours I think they would like, such as blue and pink. The layout of my double page spread is simple and tidy, as my target audience are young and won't want to read something that looks boring. The headline is kept simple and gets to the point that the artist is the main focus. It is in a light blue colour, which goes against the convention, as other pop magazines I looked at use bright colours so it stands out. The reason why I did this is because I wanted it to mainly appeal to teenage girls, not boys, as you wouldn't associate the colours light blue or pink with them. The way the text is shown is like a Q&A, as many magazines do this, and I wanted to follow the convention. Also, I thought an interview would appeal more to my audience rather than an article, because on the page it looks more readable, and I think they would enjoy reading it. The questions are in a different colour to the answers, so that it's easy to tell apart what is what. I decided to do a lead paragraph, as it introduces the audience to the artist in case they are not familiar with them. I separated my text into 2 columns, as this gives it a professional feel and looks neat and tidy. In addition to this, it makes it look like there isn't much writing on the page, and magazines also do this. The ending of my article is conventional, as I wanted it to end on a positive note, and it ends with the advertising of the artist's album, which is how the double page spread in Wheel of Pop ends too. The artist on my double page spread breaks conventions because usually they use a white person, but I chose to have someone of an ethnic minority on my double page spread. I decided to break this convention because I wanted my magazine to appeal to people of all races, not just white. The artist is Asian and is wearing the same dress as she's on the contents page, and is looking up to the headline, which is placed on the top left-hand corner, just above her head. The shot is a medium shot so that the readers can see her facial expression and her makeup too.